Welcome back to another episode of Yoga Biz Champ. I am Michael J. And today I'm really thrilled to have my good friend who is Stephanie Breaux Bradley. And she is back today to talk about planning ahead. So we're talking about the end of 2025 and tips to plan ahead for 2026 so that you can get ahead of things. If you stay till the very end, I'm just going to list 3 simple steps to help you plan for your next year. And also, going along with this episode, every year I get together with my studio owners in October to plan out 2026 with our planning party. And to do that, I prepare a calendar for the whole next year that has all of the important dates like Women in Health and Fitness Days, National Health and Fitness Days, National Relaxation Days. All of those things are already plotted out in the calendar so that you can create your own parties with your own studios and get ahead of things. So you can actually download that from yogabizchamp.com/plan26. And again, that'll get you a little step ahead for next year. Anyway, on to the conversation with my good friend. Here's Stephanie. Welcome, Stephanie, back to Yoga Biz Champ. If you haven't heard her before, seen her before, this is Stephanie Breaux Bradley, my good friend. We went through our certification training together. We've been kind of consultant besties since then, and we kind of jive on the same rhythm, I think. And she also works for the Sales Arms, who one of the podcast sponsors, trusted sponsors, and rocking it in that world. And so what I love about Stephanie right now is you are seeing people across the industry every single day and really seeing what is going on. But as we've both been studio owners, we know the importance of planning ahead. And I think a lot of my intro calls when I talk to people, they're usually scrambling, making decisions in the moment. And so we're big proponents of thinking ahead, planning ahead, looking ahead, being at least 8 weeks ahead of everything so that you can do good marketing. And hey, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you. So good to see you. It's funny when you mention that because I always feel the need, we're nothing if direct and transparent, that as a studio owner, I didn't always do the things that I should do when I should do them. And I love to use this as an example because I find it very funny looking back. I can remember very vividly waking up on like May 2nd. And keep in mind, I am a mother and have 3 kids and was like, you know what? Mother's Day's coming up. I should probably do something.
Yeah.
I come up with, I don't know, like a little promotion. I'll send an email. I'll do a post. And then immediately after it being unsuccessful, which let's be clear, it's really transparent why it was not successful. Getting personal about, well, I guess nobody likes my studio. I guess nobody likes my classes. Nobody even jumped on the offering. And realizing now, taking yourself out of the studio ownership and being able to look at it from like a macro level, I did not create an adequate enough runway to be able to get the information out to people, to be able to let them know what it looks like. Because we all know, and we've heard it many times before, there's not much that one email or one phone call or one text message is going to do. Especially if your avatar client is, in this instance, a mother, they're being thrown in a whole bunch of different directions. So to your point, now that I have come full circle, knew it in my head at the time, but now realize the strategy of planning ahead, what that does for so many instances, not only in your bottom line, but in how your community looks at you. And I think it's a very pertinent topic right now because the buzzword is like the third space. How do you create a third space within your four walls?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, I also need to say I think I'm the only person who's still keeping Franklin Day Planner in business. Every year I order because I remember my writing. And I get all excited about the organization because it makes me feel like I have my shit together. And I think positioning yourself in that empowered place as an owner lets you walk more confidently. Here's an example kind of thing. Let's just say you're planning on having a holiday open house. And then there's this buzz around there because everybody is there and there are promotions and all of that kind of thing. Do you realize how much farther it would go if at that open house, that person is privy to all the community events that you have planned that are coming up, all of the challenges that you have, the different things that you as a studio do to retain members, or the like marketing things that you do when you're dealing with your grassroots efforts and what that cross promotion looks like. I am looking to come and follow someone who I'm seeing as a professional in movement. And I'm also looking for that je ne sais quoi, finding my people and knowing that they do things will make me feel more comfortable and less intimidated in jumping into those things and figuring out, are these my people type of thing.
Yeah, that fitting in is a big thing, but having the different doorways coming in is also important. With the planning head, with my background was marketing and design, so I think in campaigns. That's literally how my world thinks. It's like, okay, if this is a launch day for everything I did, and when I had my studio as well, if this is my launch day here, I was always 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks ahead of that. And like pre-booking, back in the day, it was ads in the local newspaper, and I'll be pre-booking full page on the inside cover. And
you're speaking your age right now, talking about like ads.
Totally. But it's come in handy in the digital world. Yeah. And when you say about the day planner, I think I've got a couple here. I scribble on a big, huge, I go buy them from the dollar store, the big calendars, and I scribble on those, plan out the whole year, but then I go digital. So then it goes into my calendar. But the actual brainstorming part is very manual.
Yes. And I feel like it helps in so many ways. And here are some examples. I don't know about you, but me as an owner and other owners that I deal with, you go by your feeling. So you could wake up one day and it's like, I feel like I need more revenue, right? Yeah. So I'm going to throw together something and it doesn't necessarily have a runway or a goal or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I am actually in a position right now where I'm planning next year, even if it's just penciled in with my clients. Yeah. And here's why. There's a strategy to it. You don't want to feel like you have to run a promotion all the time. It needs to make sense.
Yes.
So let's do a for instance. Right now you're talking about what Black Friday looks like. Yeah. And maybe you are so together that your Black Friday is at the beginning of November, so you're not competing with everyone. What if you were to create a Black Friday promotion that would lead you right until the middle of November, conveniently, so that you have what your outreach looks like to get them planned for the new year, but knowing that their life's about to get batshit crazy. So we'll throw in the last 2 weeks on us kind of thing. And then that leads into what the challenge looks like. And let's say you have it at the end of January. How long is the challenge? What does the next thing look like? But obviously it's all based on your numbers.
So that,
And there's a strategy to it. So for instance, let's just say you're now developing your sales process and you're talking to somebody on the phone who's interested, but they're not interested right now for X, Y, and Z. I now can talk to you about what's going on next month or the month after and plan what the follow-up looks like based on our conversation. So it's a personal relationship conversation and not a sell kind of thing. Here's what we have going on. We'd love to have you involved. We always have a challenge in February. It's a team challenge. It'd be great for you to introduce yourself to the studio, and I'll set you up with someone that will be your buddy type of thing.
So you're setting it up so that they're able to visualize what the future looks like as part of your studio.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I do that with my studios in their beginner 101 course. Mm-hmm. And so making sure, because a lot of people do a course and it's like 8 weeks done onto knitting. I always joke about that, right? But in the course, you can picture or give the visual of what most people do after this course. Mm-hmm. Right. And give that, and you see that throughout the course so that they can picture that, oh, yes, I can carry on and fit in. Anyway, back to being ahead of the game. So you said something in there, which was a key word, which was data. And so every October with my studios, we get together and we plan out the whole next year. But they get homework before that, and that is they got to put their data. And so that is attendance data and sales data, the two main things. And I want them to look at the ebbs and flows of that. So that doesn't lie. That's the truth. That's showing how people show up or pay. And what you touched on also was not just putting a sale on for the sake of a sale, right? So if you have the data, you look at the low times, and that's where you might put a promotion on. It might be a bonus 2 classes, 10+2 or something. Or if it's attendance, you might do a bingo challenge or some type of other challenge that get bums on mats. But it's not just, like you said, it's not just winging it, because if you're pre-existing, you have data to look back on.
It's also kind of like, and I think of data also, me and my numbers in my spreadsheet, put me in a spreadsheet and I'm golden for a while. But I also look at data from like a macro level. So for instance, are you in an area where your avatar client is mostly moms? You need to find out when the kids' spring break week is, when they're out for the holidays, all of that. And you put all of that into the calendar so that you are meeting them where they are, type of thing.
And spring break, where people disappear out of town.
Exactly. Yeah. That May is just as crazy as December is for a mom, kind of thing. So maybe you plan ahead. But you bring up another good point. I like, because we talk in tangents. I have a studio who's obviously summer, like most studio in the area she is, there's a dip. That's when she has her semi-annual sale in July. And she still does something for Black Friday, but it's more of like a class package or something that someone wants to grab that's quick, that's in like a price point that is attractive to people. But she has her semi-annual membership sale in July, because every October she does her price increase for the cost of living. So it's that kind of push.
Yeah.
So when macro level, when you're looking, I always like to, and yes, I print out my calendar from Canva, but I always look at like the 4 buckets. What am I doing this year to attract new clients?
Yep.
What am I doing to retain my current clients? What am I doing to support my staff and keep that, whether it's like ongoing continuing education, camaraderie, that sort of thing? And what am I doing to show up in my community?
Yep.
And when you go into your system and you find that there are certain events in your area that make sense for you to capitalize on,
that are already existing. A lot of them are already there. My client, Marianne, that was just on my podcast, Peaceful Yoga, small town, but they have this event on where people are walking through the streets. And so you better believe I've got her table, tent set out, giving out orange juice and a spin wheel and all those things. And now she is collecting email addresses from there. She's doing sales on the day. But that event already existed in the community. You just tapped onto what was already there.
And the beautiful thing about it is, once you have created what your plan is in your runway, it's then like an evaluation depending on what your goals are. What can we tweak? And then next year, everything is already created. You're just kind
rinse and repeat.
Another example, I have a client that has a huge 5K race where goes right in front of her business at the beginning of November. And she's like, what do I do for Black Friday? I'm like, you don't need to worry about Black Friday. You need to have it when you have all of that traffic right there. And so it's something to build on, and it makes you feel better when, are you going to come back and like erase some of the pencil ideas at first because you don't know what the hell you were thinking at that point? But by you building on your brand and getting that brand awareness of that event, it now becomes something people look for all the time. Yeah. For instance, I'm in Southwest Louisiana. We have football as a religion here. So I always had a football challenge in September where luckily one of my teachers was a kindergarten teacher. So she like had all that brown paper where you make the nice visuals, and it was a football field. And I had helmets made. And so it was a team challenge. And for every class you moved along, I don't know if you know football, Michael J., but you move along however many yards to go down. And it was something because it was accountable. Like you had 5 people on the team. So it was like, hey, come meet me. We get double stars if we go together today. So it helped address getting new clients in for me. It helped address creating that excitement for my members. And it also kind of helped with like that community of it because it was
Yeah.
something that we were all 2 feet in
Yeah.
when it came to that. And I just built on it and people would look forward to it and got to the point where they were asking
Yeah.
me about it before I had even sent anything out about it.
Yeah. I have two examples of my studio with that. The first one was the Quilt and Car Show, a bizarre thing, but it was like all the businesses had quilts in their windows, and then on the Sunday, all the old cars came into town. My studio was the only one with big walls, and so the oversized and antique quilts. You better believe that day, which was in August, prior to my September launch campaign, you better believe on that day I had schedules, beginner yoga ready, boards up on the walls for people to look at, brochures ready to take, and conversations ready to have. And so that was already there. I just popped a tent outside and said, come on in. And then the other one was, which we've talked about before, was creating your own party. And my annual shopping day for hospice in November, perfect mid-November, pre-Christmas shopping. But where we had vendors and a percentage went to charity, which was hospice. But the beautiful thing about that, my students who were potters and part of a pottery club, they had the pottery sales several times a year. And at the end of every single pottery sale, they went up to the people selling them, said, will you donate these pots for charity? And so they collected them in their garage all year long. And then they came on that day and sold them for 100%, and 100% of the money went to hospice. That became a thing. People came early because they knew it was great party, great prices, and it became an annual thing that people had to get to.
You bring up a good point because I think when it comes to anything that is grassroots or community involved, it comes across stronger if it's something that you really believe in and that you're
100%. Well, 100, yeah. I've talked about this before, but the next owner tried to do the same things, but his charity wasn't hospice. His heart wasn't his event. But had he made it about diabetes or something meaningful to him, my students came because of my story, my belief around that. And so, yeah. But let's talk about, because we're talking about November and we're talking about Black Friday and all of those things. So, and you mentioned something that makes me cringe a little bit, and that is the selling an annual pass on Black Friday. And then people...
I didn't say an annual, I said a class pack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I heard annual. Because I know the annual pass when somebody, and then people wait for the next year for that sale.
Yeah, no, that was, I might have been my Southern accent. Yeah. No, not annual pass. Before we move on to that, something that I want to mention, and this is something of like the ness of things. I think that by, for lack of a better word, taking control of your calendar and making it set in stone also gives your followers, your clients, your potential clients structure. Because I think right now we live in a world that doesn't feel like we have a lot of control. I don't know that we ever really did, but I think it's just like face in front. So to be able to have that control, and I liken that because I had an epiphany moment. I went to a reformer class today and my life moves like this all the time. And I was trying to figure out, because somebody asked me, what draws you to that class? And I'm like, because I feel right now, this is the one time I can control. I have a machine underneath me. I decide the speed. I decide what it looks like. And I feel like I have, again, for lack of a better word, control of what this looks like. Because when I walk out the door, I might not. And so I feel like whatever you can do to have that like supportive plan, because we know we always feel better when you're walking in with structure. And oh, by the way, by taking that and laying that out, because we mentioned that's at the beginning, allows you to look back at the runway of what it is.
Yeah.
Like what does my runway need to be so that I'm giving people adequate consideration to put on their calendar and line up.
And along with that, I see sometimes there's a lack of consistency in the community studio as far as, are we open or not on statutory holidays?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's at the whim of, I see, there's no consistency along those. But if people get used to either we're always open on those holidays or we're not open on those holidays, but knowing that ahead of time again, so you're not on that kind of, oh, I'm burnt out, so I'm going to close on that day. People are thinking right now, if they're not ahead and they're scrambling, they're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about between now and Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's give some thoughts to what can be done sort of in this period, and then how do you look ahead for the next year?
Got it. For this period, I just got off a client call, so it is very like fresh in my mind right now because of course it's like, what do I do to celebrate my members? What do I do to celebrate my staff? What do I do for like potential new clients type of thing?
Yeah.
And we landed on a really cool idea that because some people locally had done this, and I was like, what if you picked with your staff, because it can hit like community and staff and even members, and you go to a diner or something in your town that's locally owned, and everybody brings $100, $50, whatever it is. And let's just use like IHOP. You can get a great deal for like $12.99 or whatever. Everybody brings $100, and whatever the meal doesn't cost, that whole amount goes to tip the person. Do you know how
Mm,
good that feels to have like
mm,
holidays, you're able to give back. So it's a community type of thing, but you're also like being able to break bread with your members and with your staff members, and it feels giving back. I will say that if you can avoid doing anything in December, because December is so
yeah.
crazy and people want to be apart, but unfortunately during that month, it feels like a have to and not a want to. So I had one client who in mid-November had her holiday thing, and someone in her studio owned a floral shop. So basically what they did is they got together and they had wine, they had charcuterie, and they made floral arrangements for everybody to take back and put on their Thanksgiving table.
Mm,
So it was one of those things where
community.
I have this on my list. I'd like to check it off. It'd be great if I can kind of like do it without my kids pulling on my leg and have a glass of wine and catch up with people, kind of thing. I think that anything you can do to set yourself up for the new year. And what I mean
Yeah.
by that is, I know for me personally, like I know December is kind of a wash with sticking to my routine when it comes to working out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason why I'm able to get through December is because I know what my plan is as of January 2nd.
Yeah.
So get ahead of that to help people with what that plan looks like. So they know, oh my God, if I overindulged or I didn't get to move my body the way that I wanted to move my body because I was so busy taking care of everybody else, I know that on January 2nd, I have a plan for myself. Because people, like we said before, they want structure, they want to
Yeah.
follow, and they're
Yeah.
looking to use the expert of what that looks like.
Yeah, I didn't when I planned my fall, I did beginners course September, October, but then I would never do anything big after that. I would do like
Yeah.
maybe a 4 weeker in November, but I knew that you get late into November and then into December, it is a wash with consistency. But you
Yeah.
can do December. I mean, what you're talking about too there is doing good in the community when in the in between
Yeah.
periods too, right? And so there's a lot you can do of goodwill in the community when you have a space. And one of ours was December. We had 3 nights of candlelight yoga, with which was donated to the food bank. And at the end of the 3 nights, massive pile of food around, and we had a ton of food. But one of the things that I didn't do. A lot of people have those registration caps where, oh, register for $25 or register for this amount. I didn't do that. I had a thing at the front where they could drop in money if they wanted into an envelope. And I got to tell you, when you don't put a cap on people and people feel like being generous, I had checks in there. Probably I had biggest was probably 500, but I
I
had
have a lot of
people
studios that have
very,
adopted families. You know how you adopt a
yeah,
family?
yeah,
They give you like the list. And so they'll adopt a couple of families and they'll put that out there. And then anybody can get something on the list or
mm,
contribute however that they feel necessary. But I want to go back a second because you said about like at the beginning of the year, how do you plan? I'm going to push back on that because I think if you macro leveled it and look at it at the year, You might think that it makes sense to have a challenge in January, but based on something going on in your community or based on like the calendar that you need to follow because of kids getting out for spring break, there could be a more opportune time
Yep.
to do it that does like this. So that's why I say I look at those 4 buckets of people and I'm like, I know at least once a quarter I need to do something for these.
Yep.
Or the teachers, it could be continuing education. It could be team building one time. It could be evaluations where they have a set time so they don't feel like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. They called me in. Every July, we're just going to sit down and talk about keeps and grows.
Staff photos.
Exactly. When it comes to like retaining new members, what does that look like once a quarter? Maybe it's like, you know what, let's meet at the studio. We're going on a hike to clean up the ocean, whatever it is again. But I think it all falls back into what makes the most sense for your community, in your studio, in your location.
Yeah.
And think outside the box.
Yeah.
You also need to take into consideration when you're doing promotions. Does it make sense to run something on Mother's Day when you have 50,000 other people running it at the same time? Maybe you're located in the string bean capital of the world. And it makes sense to have something on, you laugh, but it makes sense to have something on National String Bean Day because for whatever reason you have an inkling to it. Your father was a string bean farmer and it's something you can feed into. It's a little extravagant of an idea, but you get my point. There's many resources where you can go and like, give me all of, because they have a holiday for everything.
I'm actually working on it right now. And so if anybody, I actually know the page it's going to be, but Plan 26. So yogabizchamp.com/Plan 26. And I'm actually working out all the things ahead, World Health Days, and all of those things just to make it easy for studio owners. I did that. There's Plan 25 if you want the rest of.
This was my idea because I don't know about your owners, but I've had some of my owners who are trying to do away with like the freeze policy, right? Like you have some people that think we're going on vacation for a week. When you map out your calendar and you know ahead of time, like when your studio is closed, maybe you're one of those people that decide, you know what, the week between Christmas and New Year's, we're just not going to be open. I think it all comes back to managing the expectations. And this is how it applies in these two situations. If I'm sitting there and I come to your open house and I am considering being a member, by me knowing what it looks like, I can decide what package makes the most sense for me. And by having it mapped out and you do your membership pricing every month, you could take into account, I have priced your membership knowing that for 4 weeks out of the year, you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here for the Christmas. Not going to be here for the week of Thanksgiving. There's usually 2 weeks or something that you're on vacation.
No pauses.
I've counted that into your membership price. And that's why it is what it is. Kind
100%.
of. Because I think the freeze thing was something big in the boutique industry. And sometimes people are like, I want to freeze.
I just had a studio suffering from that. And they're just like, and now it's like they're having to turn it on, or in September they would turn it on. But that's a tough one in August. But I agree. You're already getting the best rate on the menu, and that includes no pauses.
And because you know that it's like, okay, you are free. Obviously, if you need to go and this doesn't work for you to cancel your membership, just know that if prices go up, that takes into thinking ahead, people's travel patterns and spring break and all of that stuff. And it's a lot easier if you manage those expectations ahead of time and go, okay, here's the information about our membership. We have priced it X, Y, and Z, taken into account, Here are your options. Let's roll with the one that makes the most sense for you.
Yeah. December's pretty good. I did really well in December. If you promote them properly and ahead of time and make it easy for people. But gift cards, I did really well. A lot of people don't do well with gift cards. I did really well with gift cards. I had MindBody at the time, and MindBody had a great way of just making it very easy with so somebody got it by email on the day that they chose to get it. So I did very well with, mine was way back in the day, but it was like a 5 for 50. I wouldn't do it that cheap now, but back in the day, that price point really hit for a gift. Like $50 price point really worked.
Also, another thing MindBody has that my clients that are on MindBody uses the ability to bundle a product and a service. So
Yeah.
what we did is we would find like two different price points because at this time you have parents needing teacher gifts and gifts for everybody and their brother. You did a price point where it was like, what would you spend on a teacher? And you put something together, whether it was like a pair of socks and a 3-pack of classes or whatever it looks like. And then you had a higher price, like what would you give to a good friend? What would you spend for a good friend? And not only did we have the bundles available, but it was all wrapped up
Yep.
at the front
Make it
desk,
easy.
run in and grab kind of thing, whether it's a gift of help.
Yep.
So having those sorts of things where you're making it easier for them
Yep.
could also be applicable.
Yeah. And big signs on your window so that when
Big signs. I have a client who goes all out, and I mean, she's got the Christmas tree. She's got all the promotions that are ornaments on the thing where it's like,
yeah, I did banner in the window.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's what you call her, Cindy Hoo Hoo. She did the Dr. Seuss theme with, and so all the packages were called like the characters, and it just kind of brought more to life. She also had like signature cocktails and mocktails for people to kind of give them ideas for their like hosting. So it kind of, and some people, you know what, the holidays is not their thing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Just provide a space for people to come decompress.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring up, I think this was my idea, how the macro level looks is because I am a studio, I am in Louisiana. My seasons are not the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
I have Mardi Gras, I have Carnival, I have football, I have opening duck season. So my new year looked differently because it fluctuated with the date of Mardi Gras. And Mardi Gras' date is based on Easter.
100%.
If Mardi Gras was at the beginning of February, no one is doing a New Year's challenge because they're still doing all the Mardi Gras balls and parades, and they're not doing anything until after. So that's what I'm saying is like I had to look at it from a different perspective. And by having all of that, according to your community and where you are, could dictate what events look like.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, the steps for looking ahead, I think really are for the next year. It's first of all, I think is plotting out following my schedule with all the health days and everything, because all of those World Health Days, and they give an excuse to have a party, a celebration, a promotion, or something to work around that, or an event. If it's, there's an International Relaxation Day, a yoga studio can do a lot with that, right? So I think that's one of the things is plotting that all on the calendar. Then I think going and seeing what events are in your local area already existing, the 5K runs. Yes. Yeah. That might go right down your street in front of you, or for me, it was a market. When I first opened, there was a Sunday market. I sold eco T-shirts on there and had my brochures. Conversations.
It could be like, and I use this all the time. I mean, it could be like a National Coffee Bean Day where the coffee shop down the street, we've talked about this. You get your QR code on the sleeve of the coffee, and it's something that you give people a $10 first class, or on the people that work at the coffee shop something. But it's something to look forward to. I also think that by planning ahead makes things more special, so that you're not like going back to the tried and true where it's like Free Friend Fridays is now every other month, so it's not special anymore kind of thing. Like maybe it's targeted for September when people are starting to get back in the routine and they just need a little bit of coaxing kind of thing. Another reason why I think planning it out when you talk about promotions is it best to run an unlimited month in December? No.
Yeah, no.
Kind of thing. It makes sense in February. It makes sense in like September, but that helps you create the promotions. And if you have a promotion once a quarter, you don't feel the need to kind of like rush and discount something just to think that you need to have something out there.
Yeah. So then the next step is that data, right? Going and if you're an existing studio, it's going in and seeing the ebbs and flows of, first of all, the sales, I would say. And so then you can, I think that's a strategy then. You can strategically, because like you said, like January is probably going to be busy. Right? Do you need to discount things, or is that your strategy? Maybe you do discount it to get more people in January. So, but having the thought behind whatever you do and being ahead of that.
And it all kind of leads into each other, and realizing your idea might not work the first time. And
Yeah.
that's okay. Because it's usually not the idea that's bad. It's like the runway to create it.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
a longer runway for something like Black Friday
Yeah.
than you need for like a coffee and conversation after Friday's class kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's where the campaign comes in for Black Friday, like in my campaign. So you're ahead of that. You know when you're promoting, you've got your emails ready, you've got your graphics ready, you've probably got a web page, landing page ready, but you've got that all set up way ahead of time. So when you turn that on, whether it's your even marketing, paid ads, it's all set. And if it doesn't work, you don't have to repeat it. But if it does, it makes
Or
it
if it
really
has
easy.
legs, you could go back and say, okay, I did this 3 email campaign. This one got a lot more traction than this one did. So perhaps I need to
Yep.
gear these to look like this. Here was my goal, and I was just short of the goal. Let me go have a brain dump on what worked, what didn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to like take a couple of things out. I had too much stimulation at my open house with 5 vendors. Maybe I just need to have
Yep.
3. Like it's all in the name of making it better. Because like we talked about before, you get to this planning stage, you don't have to recreate the wheel every year.
Well, that's it. And the thing is, I have my studio owners, when they've done it, document it right away. Document it. And so then next year, you've got everything, notes and thoughts and yeah. But so that's the sales part. And then the attendance part, I think, is the other part, right? Is like looking at the ebbs and flows. And I also like when to put courses on and when to put registered events on. Like I knew January, February was good for me, but March was not, because spring break, everybody went to Mexico from where we are. And so then I would go April, May. That would set me up for another beginners, and then I'd be ready for my summer, 2-month summer challenge promotion way ahead of time.
It just allows you to plan. It allows you to feel better about moving forward. And most importantly, we can leave on this note. Planning ahead allows you to be present and truly focus on the experience within the 4 walls, because nothing will sell your business more than your attention to the product and what's delivered. And nowadays, it's what that whole experience is. So
the whole customer experience.
You being present within the 4 walls of that experience, knowing that calendar is planned, all of that looks the way that it needs to look, go out. And all I have to do here is, with my smile and shining face, answer whatever questions that you have and just continue to create the relationship. Yeah.
It is relationships.
It is.
It is. So yeah, end of 2025, heading into 2026. Hopefully this inspires some folks to kind of get a little bit looking ahead into the future. And it's good to chat with you again.
You as well.
Actually, we have you coming back.
I was about to say, I think we're talking tomorrow too.
We're talking tomorrow, but it's going to be with your pal, Chris. It's going to be a really good episode, because I really just want to talk about leads. Lead generation, how to get people in. So then in 2 weeks' time, it'll be another great conversation. So thanks, Stephanie.
You're welcome. Always good to talk to you.
You too. Thanks for tuning in, champs. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to this channel. It means a lot. And if you're ready to open your own studio or grow your current one, visit yogabizchamp.link/YouTube to book your free strategy call with myself and explore my starter studio and grower studio packages. And you'll also get access to all of my free Yoga Biz Champ resources, yogabizchamp.link/YouTube. And you can check out other insights and follow me on all social media platforms at Yoga Biz Champ. See you next time.